There's not many things my wife and I enjoy more than watching the birds at our feeders, especially now in early summer when the adults bring up their young to teach them how to feed themselves. Except for squirrels and the occasional raccoon, feeding the birds used to be quite easy. The past few years, however, those of us that feed regularly are experiencing huge problems. Those of you that feed birds in central Massachusetts will know that those huge problems are black bears. The past few years, we have had many bird feeders crushed and lots of suet cages disappear. I have heard the same story from most of my bird feeding friends. I tried many ways to outsmart the bears. We got a tall hook from a garden store and hung the feeders on the hook. The bears bent the hook and got the feeders. We tied a rope between two trees and hung our feeders on the rope. Eventually, a bigger bear showed up and got the feeders. I raised the rope. One of the bears climbed the tree, shook the rope, and the bears got the feeders. Not only were we going through feeders and suet baskets, the bears were eating more seed than the birds. It seemed like our only alternative was to stop feeding the birds until the bears went into hibernation. There had to be a reasonable solution to this problem. There was, and I found it at the bird store in Sturbridge. The bear pole. A bear-proof, squirrel-proof, raccoon-proof pole. This pole not only eliminated my bear problem, but it also reduced the time I spent refilling my feeders. I hang 3 feeders that hold 4.5 pounds of seed each, and I also hang a 3.5 pound suet block. Instead of filling daily, this amount of seed lasts almost a week. Nancy Cormier from the bird store is demonstrating how easy it is to refill the feeders on the bear pole. I purchased stainless steel rings that you can get from any hardware store for about $1 and attach them to a typical bird feeder utilizing a plastic electrical tie. On the suet basket, I simply take a coat hanger and fashion a handle to the basket that will hang on the arm of the bear pole. The bird store sells the plastic hook that attaches to a typical expandable painter's pole that is available in any paint store. As you can see, these feeders are high enough that no bear can reach them. The black squirrel guard just below the arms prevent any animal to climb to the feeders. Raccoons are great climbers and have taken quite a few bird feeders from me in the past. The galvanized steel pole is impossible for even the most agile raccoon to climb. I had my bear pole configured with 4 arms. They can be configured with more or less depending on individual needs or preferences. From the first day this bear pole was installed in September of 2014, the birds have flocked to it. But the proof is in the seeing. Does this bear pole stop bears from getting your seed? In the next few minutes, I will show you multiple bears attempting to get to my bird feeders. I will time date when each video was taken. Since installing the bear pole, I have not lost a single feeder from it. This small bear that you're looking at right now is the first video that I was able to capture of 2015 of the bears. This is a small female bear, and you can tell it's a female bear because it has a tracking collar on her. The Division of Fishery and Game only puts collars on female bears. I believe this is a bear that was here last year in 2014, but she did not have a collar on then. In looking at this bear, I was trying to determine how tall she was or how big she was. So after she left the next day, I went out to the bear pole and I put 2 rings of black tape on the pole, one at 6 feet off the ground and one at 7 feet off the ground. So in subsequent videos, you'll see the bears with the lines or the tape on the pole so you'll be able to determine how tall the bear is. Here you see it, the next bear to show up on April 30th. This bear, when he extends himself, he's almost up to the 6.5 foot mark. So with the tape on there, I'm able to determine how tall these bears are. I live in Leicester, Massachusetts, where this bear pole is installed in my home. People don't realize how many bears there are in central Massachusetts or how many bears there actually are in Leicester. Last year, 2014, I documented 8 different bear in the yard. We had a sow with 3 cubs. I had a small female bear. We had one very large male bear with no ear tags at all. And we had one medium-sized male bear with an ear tag in both its right and left ear. And we had a smaller male bear with a tag in just its left ear. So far this year, 2015, I think we've had 4 different bear come to the bear pole. We had the small female with the tracking collar on her. We had the male bear that came on April 30th and stood about 6.5 foot tall. That bear had a tag in its right ear, and I think that's the same bear that came back May 15th and July 13th. We had a little bit smaller bear that came on May 4th, and that bear had a tag in both of its ears. And then on May 5th, we had a little bit smaller bear, as you can see from the video, and that bear had a tag just in its left ear. So to me, that's 4 bears this year so far. Prior to installing the bear pole, we had bears in our yard just about every week. They'd come 3 or 4 days in a row, and then we wouldn't see one for a week. And again, they were different bear, and there were multiple bears. Since putting up the bear pole, we just don't see the bears anymore. They get frustrated because they're not getting seed, so they actually stop coming. I sort of miss the bears, but I do not miss my bird feeders being gone and paying for bird seed that the birds are not getting. I hear from my neighbors that the bears are still in the neighborhood because my neighbors are seeing them and they're still getting bear damage, but we are not, so I'm happy about that. Prior to installing this bear pole, we must have lost at least a half a dozen wire baskets that hold the suet, and I couldn't count how many bird feeders have gotten not only stolen, but just wrecked. I mean, they take them down and they beat the crap out of them. Since installing the bear pole, we haven't lost a single feeder or suet rack. In this video, you've watched 7 different bear attempts trying to get to my feeders and suet, and they just can't get to it. This thing really works. So as you have seen, folks, this bear pole solved my problem. If it worked for me, it can work for you. If you'd like some information on the bear pole, you can visit the webpage on your screen, thebirdstoreandmore.com, or you can call the helpful folks at the bird store, and I'm sure they can help you. Well, good luck with your bear problems, and happy birding.